What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another daily Manchester City transfer update. Before I do crack on with today's transfer update, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, then do subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day here on YouTube with all the latest City transfer news. You don't want to miss a thing, so do subscribe. Also, don't forget, social media links are in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's transfer update. Once more, aiming for 400 likes, smashed it in the last one, so if we could do the same on this one, then that would be greatly appreciated. And also don't forget to get your thoughts in the comments below. So we've got no contract news, we're going to dive straight on in with the out, and we've got the very latest on Manchester City youngster Farid Alfa-Ruprecht. So latest on him, 19-year-old academy lad, plays for Manchester City, and Bayer Leverkusen over in Germany have agreed a deal to sign him from Manchester City. The fee that we're looking at is £5 million, with Manchester City including a whopping 40% sell-on clause. That's 40% sell-on clause on this one. So it does mean that in the future, if Alfa-Ruprecht ends up leaving Bayer Leverkusen for a big fee, then Manchester City more than likely will be looking at 40% of that transfer fee. Remains to be seen as to whether it's 40% profit, which if he ends up being sold for a big fee, then obviously you'd have to subtract £5 million and find 40% of that transfer fee. So we'll see what the future does hold there for Farid. Wishing him the very best of luck on his move to Bayer Leverkusen and also in Germany as well. And another academy lad leaving Manchester City. And speaking of academy lads leaving Manchester City, it takes us on to an update on Jayden Lienou, who was speaking about a couple of days ago now. Leeds United were interested in signing him. They were getting all the agreements in place to make this signing happen for their academy from Manchester City's academy, and that has now been confirmed by Leeds United's academy that they have signed Jayden Lienou from Manchester City. It's believed we're looking at a fee of just under £500,000, and so he's going to be a Leeds United academy player. So wishing Jayden the very best of luck for the future, and again we'll see what the future does hold for him. And moving on to the final transfer of the out is also an academy lad at Manchester City, but around the first team squad, is an update on James McAtee. And we've had some reports coming in from the Mail. They've said that Borussia Dortmund, Eintracht, Frankfurt and Nottingham Forest are the three teams showing the most interest and are the favourites to bring in James McAtee this summer. There's lots of other interest from teams in Serie A. We've spoken about interest coming in from Atalanta and other clubs in Italy. There's plenty of interest coming in from Germany in the Bundesliga. There's a few Premier League teams interested as well. Very much it's an ever-growing list of interest in James McAtee. Manchester City looking for a really good transfer fee, despite McAtee having 11 months left on his City contract and not currently interested in signing a new contract with Manchester City. I imagine that City will want to include some clauses on this deal, which may end up meaning that Manchester City don't get as good of a transfer fee than maybe what they're looking for, including want to include a sell-on fee. I imagine City will probably want a buyback clause as well. So it's all about what position these teams that want to sign James McAtee financially, what are they looking at and what are they happy to agree with. But as I was saying in yesterday's transfer update, it's all fine and well saying teams are interested and they want to sign James McAtee, and they're interested in bringing in one of the very best homegrown talents out there who's English as well, but there's no offers on the table, and until we start getting concrete offers on the table, then it's just at the moment just seems to be dragging on, and it can be very frustrating because it can be unsettling for the player. City don't really know where they stand on this transfer, and to be honest, it's just interest. This team interested, this team interested, this team interested. Yeah, we want to see some concrete offers, and I imagine that will be coming in the coming days to weeks. But just seems to be every single day more teams interested. This team's the favourite. Now this team's the favourite, and yeah, very frustrating. Anyway, moving on to the ins. Manchester City have added a player to their academy. Comes in the form of Mahamdou Sangare from Paris Saint-Germain. Now, he signed for Manchester City, according to Fabrizio Romano. Manchester City's academy will not announce signing, so that will never be made official as per an article, but it will be made official when you next see Manchester City's academy in action. When the academy is in action, all of a sudden, there's Sangare. There's the picture picture of him, and he is now a Manchester City player. Sangare is an 18-year-old Mali-born French youth player who plays as a forward, so I wanted to formally welcome Mahamadou to Manchester City and wishing him the best of luck here as well. I do presume that he will be in and around the CFA, the City Football Academy. I wouldn't rule out him being loaned out, but I reckon he'll probably do at least the next 12 months around the City Football Academy, and who knows, may see him around the first team squad sooner rather than later. Now moving on, we've got the very latest on Morgan Gibbs-White, and as I was saying in yesterday's transfer update, I said from the reports that were coming in from the Football Insider, it didn't make much sense. Manchester City don't need a central midfielder right now. We've got a lot of work to do for us to want to target another central midfielder in this transfer window, including sorting out the futures and selling players basically, and it was just very difficult for City to get a transfer done, and I think the biggest bonus that Morgan Gibbs-White had when it came to Man City's interest was the fact that he was homegrown and we didn't have to worry about the registration. So it was always a case of, does City want an even bigger squad? But until we've started to sell some players, because our squad is too big right now in terms of registrations, we can't even register all our players to be available for the Champions League right now. So we do need to focus on the outgoings and also on the contract renewals. But there is the potential that if we do want to go out there and add any players in any positions, then it's always a good bonus for us to be targeting homegrown players. And there was definitely interest from Man City in Morgan Gibbs-White back in May. And as I was saying back in May, Manchester City had their price set. It was set at around £30 to £40 million, which I firmly believe is a realistic value for a player who has 2 years left on his contract at Nottingham Forest. You're looking at around, £15 to £20 million per season. If a player's under contract for 5 years, for example, that would take the total value up to between 75 and 100 million pounds for a player that's having a great season. That sounds like a fair value. So Manchester City were going off that value for a player that's got just 2 years left on the contract. What they weren't interested in was Nottingham Forest's asking price set for Morgan Gibbs-White, which was firstly at 100 million pounds, which I don't know where Nottingham Forest have plucked that one out from, and then set at 70 million pounds, which again, I don't really know where Nottingham Forest have plucked that number out from either, because Morgan Gibbs-White, it turns out, has a release clause in his contract set at £60 million. And the fact that this information up until yesterday afternoon had never been released is telling me that Manchester City never actually sat down with Morgan Gibbs-White's entourage and actually discussed a transfer, because Morgan Gibbs-White's agent and representatives will have known about a release clause and they'd have communicated that to Manchester City, and Manchester City would have made it public information, in particular if they were interested in only paying £30 to £40 million, and have said there's a release clause active and we're not interested in paying that release clause, we've got our value and we're not moving on that value. So I do wonder about just how far into this deal Manchester City got. It sounds like to me it was interest and it never developed any further from interest. There was definite interest, but I don't think City have actually put any numbers forward. There's certainly no personal terms agreed, which is why I said take things with a pinch of salt of what the Football Insider was saying yesterday, because it just didn't make that much sense to me. So anyway, the latest on that, Fabrizio Romano gave it that here we go for Morgan Gibbs-White for his release clause to be met, £60 million, and he's going to be signing for Tottenham Hotspur, not for Manchester City. And I know a few of you guys had reservations about Man City signing Morgan Gibbs-White, and I imagine you'd be delighted with that news that came out yesterday afternoon. My thoughts on that is Morgan Gibbs-White's a very good player. He's a player that plays really well when given time and space on the ball. So when Man City play Tottenham Hotspur, Morgan Gibbs-White will get time and space on the ball. So I wouldn't rule out him being one of the best players on the pitch and caused Manchester City a lot of problems. However, I did have concerns about how Manchester City have their style of football, and how Manchester City want to play is they don't get given time and space on the ball because teams play low block. They put men behind the ball. So it's all about how good are players in dead ball situations, how good are they at creating opportunities when there's nothing to be created, and that was where my concern was with Morgan Gibbs-White. No doubt a very talented football player, a very direct football player, good with his attacking credentials, and I feel like he really prospers when he's given time and space on the ball, which I just don't don't think he would have got at Manchester City. And for the right price, I'd have taken the risk and taken the punt. 30-40 million pounds I think was a fair value. 60 million pounds doesn't sound like a lot of money. We've going off some of the other massive transfers that you see, but 60 million pounds is still a huge amount of money to be spending, in particular for a player who's got 2 years left on his contract. Tottenham Hotspur want to try and boost their squad ahead of their Champions League campaign and trying to have a better season than what they've had last season, of course. Back in the new manager as well, bringing in Mohamed Kudus from West Ham, bringing in Morgan Gibbs-White as well, a couple of really good, solid Premier League players. But for Manchester City, our focus is on contracts, our focus is on selling players, our focus from there on out will be sorting out players in positions that we do need to get clarity on and sort out, including in defence, replacing Kyle Walker, who's left to go to Burnley, and also having a look potentially at the goalkeeping situation. And I think that's maybe what we're looking at for the remainder of this transfer window. I wouldn't rule out City getting some player sales sorting out the futures of the likes of Jack Grealish, of course, Calvin Phillips, and more. The interest coming in from Ilkay Gundogan, Stefan Ortega not really interested in signing a new contract, got 12 months left on his contract. Edison doesn't want to leave, but currently not signing a new contract as well. We need clarity, and that's what we need to be focusing on heading into the second half, really, of this summer transfer window. Anyway, moving on to the final transfer, I want to speak about Maher Carrizo, the young forward from Velez Sarsfield over in Argentina. So we've had some more interesting news coming out from Argentina via Sports Witness. They've said that the release clause for Carrizo is set at 16 million euros, not 16 million US dollars. So we're looking at a fee here of just under 14 million pounds, or 13.79 million pounds for Manchester City to make this transfer happen. We know that River Plate in Argentina are really interested in bringing in Carrizo from Velez Sarsfield, and Manchester City's plan is, rather than going down the dual ownership side of things with the players, which can be very complicated, Manchester City want to make it as simple as possible, and that's Man City meet the release clause for Carrizo from Velez Sarsfield, and then they would loan him out for the remainder of the South American season, which runs from January 1st through to December 31st. So Man City wanting him to spend the next 5 months or so out on loan at River Plate, and it remains to be seen what City want to do from there. Carrizo, as I said, is a 19-year-old Argentinian striker, and again, another top South American target that Manchester City want to try and target and matching with what City kind of have been doing with 3 or 4 players now. Seen it from Julian Alvarez, bringing him in from River Plate, Maximo Perrone bringing him in from Velez Sarsfield, Claudio Echeverri bringing him in from River Plate, and now we're looking at Maher Carrizo coming in from Velez Sarsfield. So naturally, it means the next top Argentinian South American player that we're going to be targeting more than likely comes from River Plate. So Manchester City having excellent relationships and wanting to use them relationships once more with Velez Sarsfield, and also utilising River Plate as well with the loan for the player. So that has been today's transfer update. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video. We're aiming for 400 likes. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. It is free to subscribe. I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day here on YouTube with all the latest City transfer news. You don't want to miss a thing, so do subscribe. And social media links are in the description as well if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram, and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorship for any videos or any general business inquiries, and I'll see you guys religiously tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. I will be live with episode number 6 of the transfer show later on this morning as well for you guys to enjoy. The link to that's already out on my channel if you want to go and set your reminders. I will see you for that, where I want to speak a little bit more about this goalkeeping situation at Manchester City. So I'll see you then. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.